Hi everyone, welcome to Exploring Space. Today is going to be a very exciting day where we actually have a great a person. Danny Kim, welcome to the show. Danny is quite an amazing character. I mean, he's explored space, the sea, the oceans, robotics, but actually none of it is his background, right? I mean, Danny, you want to introduce yourself very quickly and tell us about how you got into the whole space thing, but maybe quickly introduce your whole cybersecurity work that you do too.
Yeah, actually, I started a cybersecurity company when I was in college with my college roommates. That was 36 years ago, and that's kind of dating me. But that's we were doing cybersecurity. I don't know if you know from the days of DOS 2.0, when everything was character terminals, and then on to doing enterprise security for Walmart, Boeing, Bank of America, the Air Force, the CIA, the FBI. Uh, and that's kind of my background. I have no background in education or space or oceans. I kind of fell into it because I had a passion for innovation, and I was a parent volunteer at a very innovative school here in the U.S. And as a result, I looked into what can we do to just really innovate in space science. So that's what I've been doing for the last 8 9 years is doing phenomenal innovations that actually isn't possible anywhere else in the world. And that's what excites me is because we've been able to create opportunities and technologies that actually doesn't exist anywhere else.
So,
And
so tell us a bit about that journey to space. I mean, you're kind of accidental space person, but it was not easy. I mean, tell us a bit about that whole story because I think that's fascinating. How you got into space, partly driven by your kids, and then ultimately how you got involved in it.
yeah, so I volunteered as a parent volunteer for a project where the kids were literally physically launching an experiment to the International Space Station. And it was when I started doing this with the high school kids, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And when I looked at the kids and the motivations and the excitement they had, and eventually even the type of learning that we're going through, I thought, hey, every student needs to experience this. This can't be just to the privileged few, the top 1% of 1%ers. How do we get this experience and this learning passion of doing experiments in space to every student? And that's started my 6 7 8 year journey working with NASA, innovating this whole environment where we can now do almost 8 million experiments a year on the International Space Station. And we will show you, if you come to the space camp, how we did that. And you can actually run an experiment, upload it to the International Space Station, get the results back within 24 to 48 hours. And that experience and that passion, you'll be among the very few students in the world that will have actually run an experiment in space. So that's the exciting part of what we're able to do is bring that experience to any student.
Fantastic. And part of it is that you spend a number of years convincing NASA to put internet in the space station, right? Tell us a bit about how that happened and why that was so critical, and how some of these kids now can actually connect directly to a space station to basically do these experiments.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we teach, and it's not just space science, it's really the character of learning how to overcome difficulties and impossibilities. And actually, that's one of the key aspects that we're teaching you to get over all the blockages that you would face in life. Because when I proposed this new way of doing experiments to NASA, this was like 5 6 7 years ago. They absolutely said absolutely impossible, can't be done. And actually, portions of what I was proposing was impossible. But it took 3 4 years to get this platform done, overcoming all the odds of people of NASA. Every NASA engineer I talked to said, "Can't be done, Danny. It's impossible." But you know what? As an entrepreneur, as someone who sees the value of doing innovative things like this, we just kept pushing through, and eventually it became possible. And by the time it became possible, we had the only system available to do it. So again, it's a way to really experience what it means to overcome difficulties, to do really the impossible things, but you get to experience what was impossible literally 5 or 6 years ago that is now available to the students. And that's kind of what really gets me excited.
Now this and it's great. And you're coming out to KL for a couple of days, 17th up to the 29th. Part of it is that you are going to run a space camp on the 20th and 21st for kids in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I mean, basically in Malaysia, but we've already got kids in Singapore signing up, in Vietnam coming down, and so on. So it's creating a buzz across Southeast Asia, not just in Malaysia. But it's a huge opportunity for parents to send their kids to discover space. But it's going to be more than just space, right? Because the other thing that kind of, I guess, your one of your key achievements is to take a high school kid, a high school team, right? A team of high school students to basically challenge for the X Prize, which maybe you can share a bit about what this X Prize is, these unsolvable problems that generally school children don't get involved in. And you actually won one of the prizes from the X Prize, right? $1 million US dollar pot.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that experience and how it's possible for even young people to make a huge difference and be able to put a dent in the universe, as Steve Jobs may say.
I think one of the things that we've learned is when you overcome and do something that was impossible, you can do the next impossible thing easier, and it becomes easier and easier to challenge yourself and push yourself to do the impossible. When we overcame and started doing experiments in space, I took some of our first cohorts of our space ISS students. And all the peers of people around me said, "Hey, you guys should try to, if you conquer space, you should try to conquer the oceans." And so finally, after a lot of prodding, we entered into an X Prize competition. At the time, it was a $7 million total purse prize X Prize competition to map the ocean floors. And we were the first junior high school team to enter. And what I didn't realize was that we were the only junior high school team to enter among 100 participants, all adults, all seasoned ocean engineers. We were the underdog. And long story short, and we'll go through some of that process during the space camp, but we became the only junior high school team in X Prize history in 29 years to actually win an X Prize. So it's a lesson in overcoming impossible odds. When you do that in little aspects of your life, you start to become able to do and overcome bigger and bigger impossible odds. And again, it's giving you, one of the great things about the space camp is giving you this hands-on experience in doing something that you probably thought was impossible. Before you come to space camp, one of the things you probably thought was impossible was, could I send an experiment to space and do my own experiment and get results back? Probably thought that was not a possibility. When you get to the point where you overcome that and do it, and you see other people doing other impossible things that may have been, you have been told that things were impossible for you, may not be so impossible anymore. So again, it's really teaching the character of grit and overcoming obstacles while having the excitement and the passion of learning space science and actually touching and uploading an experiment to space.
Fantastic, Danny. And I think that's one of the big part of, with technology changing, with so many different things that are happening all around the world. ChatGPT. You hear Sam Altman is here, Sam has gone, Sam is coming back, and so on and so forth. All kinds of different things that are happening in the world today. But I think one of the big pieces that will take humanity forward is our capability, our capacity, the ability to be self-controlled, have grit, essentially our character, right? The human spirit. And part of it is to inculcate that into the kids. And one of the things you did when you came out to KL a couple of months ago was you ran a special program where you took about 19 Malaysian students, right? And these were aged 12 to, I think, 15, 16, 17 or so, including a couple of refugees, right? That we had. So 19 from a whole segment of society, right? From international schools to kebangsaan schools to refugee schools. Right? You brought these students in, and you actually enabled them to go to space. And here's a photo of you with a 12-year-old Kevin, right? Doing a VR piece of exploring space. Going live into the space station, right? And I think the Malaysian newspaper, The Star, did a big feature on this whole thing, and they were like amazed that, hey, we've actually got 19 Malaysian students that actually already conducted experiments in space, and we did this all in a 3-4 hour window, right? So that was quite an amazing experience. But what can we look forward to in this space camp, right? Because this is going to be a 2 day session. It's going to be over the weekend, so 9 to 5 on both a Saturday and a Sunday. What are some of the things that people can look forward to? I mean, I'm assuming every kid who attends will be uploading an experiment into space. I think that's going to be a given, having seen the earlier piece. But what else can we expect? And why should companies be sending their employees' children, or why should organizations or parents be even interested in space? Because it seems so far away and so out there, right? I mean,
Mm.
space. I mean, how's that relevant to us here in Malaysia, right?
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that people fail to understand is learning the innovations that surround space. You're learning all the innovative career-based opportunities and the skill sets that are in the industry today. Not just being an aerospace engineer or an astrophysicist or a planetary scientist or satellite design engineer or working for NASA or your local space agency, but a lot of robotics, engineering, programming, project management, even policy, public policy. There's a lot of things that if you understand the ins and outs of space science and the space that governs all of the world around us, it's such a broad field. And so one of the things that we're going to dive into, not just space and doing experiments and the science behind some of the experiments, but we'll also dive into robotics. We'll actually have every student be able to get in teams, build their own robot, program their own robot, and actually drive and compete with their own robot in a Mars terrain competition. So a lot of just learning and invigorating around robotics. And then we have a really advanced, for the high school group, a fun way of learning cybersecurity, which is actually my biggest background. But cybersecurity in the context of robotics, where you get to learn all the a key aspect of hacking and defending, and then we're going to have you guys defend and hack into each other's robots as you go through a competition arena. So it's just making cybersecurity fun, but also all in the context of space and robotics and competition. So it's going to be a phenomenal time for the kids. Not only is it going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be a lot of very deep set learnings on all the different aspects of engineering and project management and teamwork that is really essential to any success in the careers.
Fantastic, fantastic. And the audience are chiming in. Wax says can't wait. There's a thumbs up from Muir. Great to have you. And Eric says hello. Well, hello, Eric, and we look forward to having you and hopefully your kids out at this exciting camp. And part of this camp is like people asking where, when, how. What are some of the things? And there's a short little video by a guy called Eric, who shares a little bit on what's and when this camp is about to take place. So here's Eric. Let's hear from him.
Hi everyone, on behalf of Meteoronomics and Quest for Excellence, we are so excited to officially announce the launch of Space Camp 2024, which will be happening on the 20th and the 21st of January, right here at Help University, Subang 2 campus. This will be a 2-day non-staying camp open to both local and international students aged 10 to 16 years old. The camp will be conducted by Danny Kim, who is the CEO of Quest for Excellence, the co-founder of Full Armor, and a special advisor to NASA. Seats are available at a normal price of 1,280 ringgit per student. However, we are currently having a special early bird promotion at only 880 ringgit, which lasts until the 31st of December. So what are you waiting for? Register now and do help us spread the word by liking and sharing this with your family and friends. For more information about registration or for any inquiries, do click the link in our bio or contact us using the details provided below. We look forward to having you at Space Camp 2024. Bye!
All right. So it's I think it's going to be one of a kind, right? I mean, it's really the first big major camp we've had in Southeast Asia, and to some extent, right? If you, I'm looking at it and I'm saying that, if only I was a kid at this point in time, and it's like, wow, we had to kind of read books, and there was not even, we didn't even have YouTube and stuff like that. So there's a lot of new ways that kids can kick. But I think one of the things that fundamentally drove you to drive space is because you found that education was not engaging enough. And for kids to really learn, they needed education that was stimulating, that was engaging, that was connected. And which is why you kind of push so hard to put internet in space and organize these experiments so kids can get firsthand live doing work that makes sense to them. Talk to us a bit about that and how your camps or the classes, I guess you will be running after the camps, you'll be organizing classes on a weekly basis for students here in Malaysia, so that kids can be prepared for the space opportunity, right? Because it's not just about putting astronauts up there, but space is going to herald a whole new bunch of opportunities for commerce and for whole other areas, right? So talk us to us about engaging education and what space is going to bring for us.
I think one of the biggest differentiators we saw even coming out of the pandemic is just this pent-up demand for real hands-on experience. I think the culture of just Zoom-based learning and text-based learning, although it's a good way to put the foundational elements in the career market today, everybody is looking for hands-on experience that can really only be done with direct teaching. And in-person teaching. And so that's one of the things that, being able to be mentored and taught directly by the experts, right? One of the reasons why, we travel to our venues and meet with the students locally, and why we're so excited to come to KL is I get to talk to and meet all the students in person. And seeing and watching them learn hands-on, building the robots, building the experiments, uploading it to the ISS. These are things that really changes the way students learn. It actually ingrains in them a sense of a passion for learning, but a type of learning a tactile type of learning that really is a differentiator. And a lot of times I go in the US and I visit a lot of the alumni that have graduated from our programs and also from the schools that have adopted our programs. I was just in Boston a couple months ago, and 9 students came out and visited for a lunch meeting from MIT. All of them were graduates of our ISS class that went through, and I asked them, hey, how did you get into MIT? What did you write your essay on? And all of them wrote their essay on their International Space Station experiments that they launched into the International Space Stations, because it was such a unique experience, and not just because it was unique, but it changed the way they learned and the motivation they had towards learning. And so that's the type of passion where I'd love to pass on to every student. And I think that's really the differentiator with the Space Camp is really giving that hands-on experience. And then following up, obviously the Space Camp is a great way to get introduced to all these concepts, but then we go deeper in our classes where we go through a summer series and really go through almost a full semester's worth of classes in 1 week and really go deep into the programming and the science and the engineering aspects of space science. And again, when I say space science, it's not just about space. There's so many things from biotech to biology to engineering to robotics to even programming and software development that encompasses all of space science. And so love to get the kids excited about and learning more. And the Space Camp, I think, is a great way to kind of get that understanding of what they're learning, and then get that motivation to continue to go deeper into their engineering and science learning.
And if you as we close up this thing, I mean, part of it is we know Space Camp is going to be help at we've got a host site, Help University in Subang. Thank you, Help University, for stepping up and hosting this. So a shout out to them. But I think we'll be opening up registrations this week for the camp. But if you were to give advice to parents, especially for young kids, early teens, preteens, and teenagers, right? What sort of advice would you give? I know a lot of parents in Asia, are very concerned about education and about making sure the kid gets as many A's as possible. But as you see the world changing with generative AI, with space, with robotics, with cyber wars and cyber security issues and challenges, right? I mean, there's so many new fields that is uncharted and seems like the Wild Wild West almost. What sort of advice would you impart to parents as facing the challenge of where should I kind of steer my kids towards? How do I, is it okay? Do they need to have a university degree? Isn't space a waste of time? All these things will be questions that permeate in a parent's mind. But what sort of advice, or what sort of nugget of wisdom that you can leave with a parent as we sort of tail off today's show?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I had kids myself that went through, and they're now in college, and they went through my programs. Actually, to be honest, I initially, my motivator for creating the programs that I created was so that I could literally teach my kids something that they could be passionate about. And so my advice to the parents is give your kids an experience that will make them passionate about learning. um, um, you know, with generative AI and all the things that are coming out in the latest technology, what's going to make the difference is when kids are passionate about what they're learning, and they're able to be creative, and they're able to apply what they learn into creating something unique. And that's something that an AI can never do. Creativity and unique creation is something that AI will always depend on humans to be able to do for them or for it, right? And so creating that passion for learning, and always looking to learn the latest, newest things, is really what Space Camp is about. Your kids are going to come out and they're going to be passionate about learning. That is a phenomenal thing to be able to teach your kids. That will go on beyond just the Space Camp. It'll go and dive back into the type of learning that they are going to do, and they're going to see these are the career paths that I can get to if I do these type of passionate things, and these are the hands-on things that I can do, that applies from all the learnings that I do at school. So it really, in the end, is can if you can find a way to teach your kids a kind of the love of learning, it's gonna pay dividends for the rest of their lives.
Thanks so much, Danny. Just to quickly recap, there's going to be a space camp in KL. Danny's coming down from the 17th to 29th, but on the 20th and 21st, there's going to be a space camp. And just, Danny's an amazing guy. I mean, he's taken, not just put internet in space, not just, he's an advisor to NASA. He's a whole bunch of series of achievement. You can Google that. But he also took a bunch of junior high school students to challenge for the X Prize and win, $1 million, right? But I think more interesting for us is that we know the space is for everyone. There's going to be opportunities, understanding the science, what it takes to succeed in space, or at least having a worldview that is different. Looking at space in a different lens. It's going to be interesting. So just recall, Space Camp is going to be held 19th, 20th, and 21st. In a couple of months, probably about in about 2.5 months or so, we're gonna have, and it's gonna be right here in Kuala Lumpur. We already got students in Singapore and Vietnam signing up. We'd love to see Malaysian students there. It's gonna be a different camp. It's gonna be engaging. It's gonna ensure students really learn and grow. And I think just to kind of show a couple of things. Here are a couple of quick information about the space camp. Okay, so here, early bird, you can register right away for an early bird, and you can reach out to Azrael. I put his number down if you have any questions regarding the camp. It's a non-residential camp, so it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Danny again has a whole bunch of achievements. You can Google it up, and a couple of quick sites. It's going to be about a journey of exploration and discovery into the cosmic space. We're going to open it up. There's going to be 3 big groups, where there's 10 to 12-year-old. They will have their own sort of junior space camp, and then sort of an intermediate space camp for the 7th and 8th grades, or 12 to 14-year-olds, depending on which school you're in. And the Kebangsaan school, it's a form 1 and 2, and then form 3 and 4 will be experiencing it, or grade 9 and 10 will be experiencing it as a separate group. And this is sort of the high school group, where you will experience, where you do a lot more in terms of cybersecurity and a couple other things. So again, a couple of quick, I see a lot of people are saying, I wish I was a kid now. Yep. But hey, Danny, maybe you have an adult version of this, down the road. Maybe as adults at that space, maybe you can think about doing a sort of, adult version, so that we can kind of catch up and understand what space is all about. And that's something to think about, Danny. And I see Peter saying passionate lifelong learning. Absolutely, regardless of your age, it's always about being curious. It's about growing. It's about enabling ourselves to continuously want to look forward with new lenses, seeing the world with bright new eyes, with hope and excitement and eagerness to make a difference wherever we go. So thanks for that comment. So again, I wanna close out again by asking Danny. If I'm a school kid, right, Danny, and I'm excited. I want to be like you, right? I want to be pioneering cybersecurity. 36 years ago, I want to, so because I want to pioneer, new stuff that's coming out in the world. I want to get into new areas, from marine, exploring the ocean, to exploring space, to exploring robotics and cybersecurity and a whole bunch of other things. How can I be an agile, excited, even at whatever age I am, and I'm not going to ask you your age, Danny, but whatever age, I think you're as young as me, but whatever age we are in, we can continuously be curious and exciting. So, what advice would you impart to a teenager who says, I want to be like you? What advice would you kind of give them as we close out today's show?
One of the advice I give, if people ask me, how did you start your company? How's it been so successful? Or how did you get it to run for 36 years? And I still run it today. It's finding the right partners and people that share your passion for learning and share your passion for principles. One of the things the reason why I love doing this, I've done space camps in other countries and lecture all over the world. It's because I can bring kids in and they can be interfacing and learning, getting excited with other kids of the same passion. And you're going to meet other kids that have the same similar passion for learning, and that will spur on more learning and more desire to do it together. And so in that way, you may actually find your other partners. You may find your other business partners or other kids that actually share your same dreams and be able to do something together. This is another opportunity because no one does this alone. I'm not doing this alone. I have two other partners that have been with me all my life. And then I'm doing this with a team of folks, with Leaderomics, with Roshan and all the whole team. And I love the fact that we get to work together with the whole team in Kuala Lumpur to put this off. And so we actually have a ton of fun even putting this type of thing together. And what the students will learn when they come in together is they're going to find all the other kids just with the same passion, the same desire to learn, and you're going to find your other kind of tribe of people that want to learn together. And I think that's one of the keys to success, is finding other people to help motivate you to continue to be better.
Cat muted myself. Absolutely. And I think if you're a company, one of the things I think that's unique that will be offered here is there's an opportunity for organizations to come in and one of the things I find the most interesting is that many organizations say we're very interested in engaging our employees. We want employee engagement. But what's one of the most important things for an employee is your children, right? I mean, most employees will kind of put your children above work. Above, if there's a crisis at work and there's a crisis at home, or with a kid, I'm rushing to my kid. I'm sorting that out, right? And there's an opportunity, I think, for organizations to come in and say, look, I wanna be a sponsor of this. I wanna take part in this, and I wanna give, I wanna buy some seats for the employees in my organization, the children of my employees. And I tell you, that's going to just drive engagement and excitement in your organization tenfold. So, if you do have any queries on that, feel free to reach out to Azrael, whose number is right below, and you can kind of call him up and say, what are some opportunities for us to be involved. I mean, the other big piece is that space is a big deal. There's not much happening on space in Malaysia, and to be affiliated with space, to be branded, to be co-branded, as one of the pioneering folks driving a space camp in Malaysia, I think that's going to be very exciting for you. So, I see Satiswar say, hey, this is really interesting. It is, blew me the moment, and I'll quickly end with this. I accidentally met Danny, right? So, Danny kind of made a call and said, hey, can you come up to Singapore? I said, no, you come up. And we met somehow. I heard this. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. We got to bring this out to Malaysia. And we've been working towards this for the last 6 months. And I think it's going to happen, right? I think more than that. And I want to close with this. One of the things that, Danny and I, as we spoke to people in Malaysia, we spoke to the Minister of Youth and Sports, we spoke to the folks at MDAC, we found that there was another big issue because we found there are a lot of children or kids after SPM not going to university, even though they could. At the same time, there's 70,000 cybersecurity jobs that are open. So I'm going to close with this because this is something we're working towards in 2024, probably mid-year. We want to launch a cybersecurity academy powered by Danny's cybersecurity company, Full Armor, right? So Danny, as we close this, maybe we share a little bit, just tease people about the opportunity for kids and why cybersecurity makes sense as a potential future job. One is because I think there's 3 million US jobs that can be done virtually in Malaysia. So imagine getting paid US dollars while working in Malaysia, doing a job, and you can do it as young as 17, 18, 19 years old, as long as you have skilled up, right? But I think there's more to it. So Danny, you want to share as we close this up, just tease people about this exciting opportunity of cybersecurity that's also coming along for us,
I think the opportunity for cybersecurity is off the charts. It's kind of like medicine. They say everybody gets sick, so there will always be medicine. Everybody's going to continue to hack. And as the world becomes more interconnected, cybersecurity is going to only grow in importance. It's already probably at the height of importance right now, and it's only going to get bigger. So if you're going to invest in a job market or a skill set, this is the market you want to invest in. And number two, cybersecurity is one of those fields you can only learn hands-on. And so there's a lot of foundational elements you can put in place as a learning, but really the hands-on learning is the only way you can get these 70,000 jobs. And there's 3.5 million jobs worldwide unfulfilled right now as we speak. And the reason why is because it requires hands-on training. And that's why we put the Cyber Armor Academy together, because it's the only way. I pulled in the biggest experts in cybersecurity, and we will teach you directly, hands-on, on how to do cybersecurity, both hacking and protecting. And so again, it's a phenomenal opportunity. Again, I wish for the space camp stuff, I wish I was a kid and I actually did a lot of this, because I kind of am living vicariously through that. In the cybersecurity field, I see all of these open job positions, and I know that expertise can be passed down. And that's kind of where we see the value and passion of being able to put this kind of training together to teach the next generation of young adults to be profitable and self-employed and have a career opportunity that really only is going to continue to grow.
All right, and so with that, don't forget the Space Camp 2024, January 20th and 21st. We'll get Danny out here. Next couple of weeks, we'll probably do more conversations on this. We'll share a little bit more. I think we want to go deeper and share some of Danny's achievement on how he managed to put some great videos out there. We'll share that over the next couple of weeks as we continue this conversation with Danny live here in terms of exploring space. Opportunities and education with Danny Kim. So with that, Danny, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you in person in January and the exciting Space Camp that's coming. Thank you everyone for being an engaging audience and being part of this show. We look forward to catching you up again next week. We'll try and do this on a weekly basis up to Space Camp 2024. See you everyone. Take care. Have a fantastic week ahead. All the best. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.